Hello YouTube, Johnny here. Today I'm going to do a deck tech on my commander. Of course this is a proxy, it's a very sexy proxy of Kaalia the Vast. On her attack trigger I get to cheat in a angel, demon, or dragon. And when it comes in, it's coming in tapped and attacking. That's what she does, so that is the commander. Now for my land base, I run 3 planes for the basic planes. I run 2 mountains and I run 2 swamps. Continuing on with my land base, I run 3 of the original dual lands. I run the Scrubland, I run the Badlands, and I also run the Plateau. For my Shocklands, I run the Godless Shrine, I run the Blood Crypt, and I also run a Sacred Foundry. I run my fetches. I run for Polluted Delta, Arid Mesa, Marsh Flats, Bloodstained Mire, and this is fetch for just basics. It's Prismatic Vista. Moving on to my filter lands, I run a Rugged Prairie, a Graven Cairns, a Fetid Heath. Now on to the rest of my land base. Vault of Archangel, Reflecting Pool, a Silent Cleansing, Dragon Skull Summit, Phyrexian Tower, Volrath Stronghold, Isolated Chapel, Sheer Death's Storehouse, Save Triome, Homeward Path, Hall of Bandit Lord, which if I pay 3 I can give one of my creatures haste if Kaalia's not on the board, and I have to hardcast. Cavern of Souls. When this enters the battlefield, I get to choose a creature type, and I can use it to cast any color of mana to cast that type of creature. Slayer's Stronghold. I tap 1 red, 1 white. Tap it. Target creature gets +2/+0, has vigilance and haste until end of turn. I also run a Sunhome Fortress of Legion. I can add 1 generic, or I can tap 2 other, 1 red, 1 white. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. I also run the Command Tower, which taps for any of my commander's identity colors. A Tainted Field, Battle Forge, Clifftop Retreat, Command Beacon, which is a very important land. Hypothetically speaking, if Kaalia gets killed and that's on the board, I can just sacrifice the Command Beacon, returning Kaalia to my hand rather than pay the commander tax. For my ramp, I have Lotus Petal, Mana Vault, Chrome Mox, Soul Ring, Mox Opal, and then for my artifacts I run Crucible of Worlds, Boros Signet, Sensei Divining Top, Talisman of Indulgence, It's Mary's favorite card, Winter Orb. Whisper Silk Cloak to make any of my creature unblockable. This was actually a mail day today, and I didn't get a chance to do it. Actually, yesterday, on Saturday. It's a Borderless foiled Lightning Greaves. I got it off eBay for about $10. Chromatic Lantern. This states that I can tap any of my land for any color. Coalition Relic. I can add 1 mana of any color, or I could put a charge counter on Coalition Relic. Rakdos Signet. It adds black and red. Orzhov Signet, adding white and black. Oh, here's another piece of ramp that I accidentally put in there. Wrong stack. It's Mana Crypt. At the beginning of my upkeep, I have to roll the dice. If it's odds, I take 3 damage. If it's evens, no damage is dealt. And for my last artifact, it is Fel Warstone. I can tap it to mana. Yeah, sorry about that. Add mana to my mana pool of a color that my opponent controls. Next, we're moving on to spells. Increasing Ambition. It's a tutor for 5, and it's got a flashback of 8, so you can tutor twice with it. Once you use the flashback, it's exiled from the game. Cast Armageddon. It destroys all lands. Another tutor, Diabolic Tutor. Terminate. Destroy target creature, can't be regenerated. Damnation. Destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. Swords to Plowshare. Exiling a creature. Entomb. I get to search my library for a card and put that card into my graveyard. Chaos Warp. I can target a permanent and I get to shuffle it back into his or her library. Diabolic Intent. It's essentially another tutor. As an additional cost, I have to sacrifice a creature and search my library for a card and put that card into my hand and shuffle my library. Another tutor, Demonic Tutor. Living Death. Each player exiles all creature cards from his or her graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures he or she controls, then puts all cards he or she exiled this way onto the battlefield. What you're basically doing is sacrificing your creatures that are on the board, and you're just trading it from the ones in your graveyard. Here's a simple 1-drop Reanimate. I put target creature card from my graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to the converted mana cost of the creature. Vampiric Tutor. It's a 1-drop. You pay 2 life. You search your library for any 1 card. You shuffle your library and put that card on top, so it's your next draw. Foiled Borderless Wrath of God. This is actually a promotional card when they were still doing the DCI things. But that's basically another board wipe. Path to Exile. Still doing spells. I also run a Sneak Attack. It's an enchantment. I can pay 1 and put a creature card from my hand onto the battlefield. That gains haste, and I have to sacrifice that creature at the beginning of my next end step. Buried Alive. I search my library for up to 3 creatures, and then I put them into my graveyard and shuffle my library. Of course, Blood Moon. All non-basic lands becomes mountains. This really screws over a player if they're not running basics. Okay, Vindicate. Destroy target permanent. Now onto creatures. Linvala, Keeper of Silence. Activated abilities your opponent's control can't be activated. Avacyn, Angel of Hope. Flying, Vigilance, Avacyn of Hope, and other permanents I control are indestructible. Archfiend, Depravity. At the beginning of your opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures he or she controls and sacrifices the rest. The next one is my Dragon Mage. Flying, whenever Dragon Mage deals damage to a combat damage to a player, each player discards his or her hand and draws 7 more. And this is my Angel of Despair. It is a flying 5/5. When Angel of Despair enters the battlefield, I destroy target permanent. And this is my Scourge of the Throne. It's a 5/5 dragon. And here's one of my kill combos. It is Master of Cruelties. If you bring it in with Kaalia and nobody can block, that's pretty much game. Because what Master of Cruelties does, it says it attacks alone, but Kaalia gets around that, and it brings the person to 1. Then when Kaalia is attacking, Kaalia finishes it and kills the person. And this is Sour of Discord. Flying is Sour of the Discord, enters the battlefield. This is a good card for multiplayer. Choose 2 players. Whenever damage is dealt to one of those chosen players, the other chosen player also loses that much life. Like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Alright, this is my lifelink. Other creatures I control flying have indestructibility, but this creature, if I attack with it, it gives me lifelink. Next creature is Angel of Serenity. When Angel of Serenity enters the battlefield, I may exile up to 3 other creatures, 3 other creatures on the battlefield. And when it leaves play, the exiled creatures come back. This one is Borgen Hellkite. You can flash it into play, and when Borgen Hellkite enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to divide it as you choose among any number of target creatures or players. Runescarred Demon. It is a 6/6. It's basically a creature with a tutor. This one is very interesting if you run an artifact deck. It's Hellkite Tyrant. Flying, trample. Whenever Hellkite Tyrant deals combat damage to the player, gain control of all artifacts player controls. And here's the end part. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. That's an alternate win. This is my only infect creature. It is a dragon. Skithrix, the Blight Dragon. It's a 4/4 infect. You can tap the 1 to give it haste if it's not cheated out. And if it's blocked and destroyed, you can regenerate it for 2 black. Lord of the Void. Whenever Lord of the Void deals combat damage, that player exiles the top 7 cards, and I get to put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield under my control. This is Aurelia, the War Leader. Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. Whenever Aurelia, the War Leader, attacks for the first time each turn, untap creatures you control, and after that you get a second combat phase. Gisela, Blade, Gold Knight. Flying, First Strike. If a source would deal damage to an opponent, it deals double that amount instead. So if I attacked with this creature, it would be dealing 10 damage to you. This is Balefire Dragon. Whenever Balefire Dragon deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. And here's another graveyard recursion. It's Ray of Dawnbringer, flying at the beginning of my upkeep. You may, its May ability, return target creature card from your graveyard to play. And this one is Aegis Angel. When it enters the battlefield, I target a permanent that I control, and it makes it indestructible until Aegis Angel dies or is put into a graveyard. Karmic Guide, when it's cast, it enters the battlefield, return target creature, more graveyard recursion, to the battlefield. At the beginning of my next upkeep, I can pay 2 white, 3 other for its echo cost, or I'll have to sacrifice it if I don't, and it's got protection from black. Another win con, and this is the last card in my deck. It's Platinum Angel. Flying, you can't lose the game, and your opponents cannot win. And that, my friends, is my deck tech for Kaalia of the Vast. Have a good evening, and enjoy, and happy gaming.